In 2005, I went to University of the Free State with an intention of studying towards becoming a physiotherapist or an optometrist. But I can tell you now, like, I didn't study those things when I got to the University of Free State because of one thing. I didn't write a selection test, and as a result, I wasn't accepted in those fields. So I had to choose a course for a year that was going to at least keep me in the system of the University of Free State as a student, so that like when I changed the following year into physiotherapy, at least I've already done something for a year. I chose a course called BSc Human Biology, of which it was my first time hearing about it. It was my first time seeing it. But just because I wanted to study, because that's all that we want to do as soon as we finish with our matric. So at first I used to refer to these 2 years of my life as wasted years in my life. But now that I'm old and wiser and I'm reflecting on my life, I realized that those 2 years were the building blocks for the person that I was meant to become. Because in those 2 years, I was doing something that I didn't even have interest in. I was doing it for the sake of being a student. And I never stopped playing football. I was playing for the varsity team, of which at that time they also had a Vodacom status. So after 2 full years of studying BSc and with no direction in my life, a miracle happened in December when we were playing a SASU tournament in East London, where I got scouted by UJ, University of Johannesburg. They offered me a scholarship to go and study in Johannesburg, UJ, for a course of my choice. And bearing in mind that like I had to go start all over again doing first year after wasting 2 years, that was major thinking back then. But it played a huge role in my life. By playing football and earning myself a scholarship or a sports bursary, it has allowed my parents to stop paying for my fees, because University of Johannesburg was paying for everything for me. And that's where I started improving in my football, because of the tournaments that we were playing with other varsities. I must say, like, if you were to ask anyone that was at varsity between 2007, in fact 2006, 2007, 2008 and 2009, and if you were to ask them like who were the dominant guys in varsity football, they will tell you that like we used to dominate. I used to dominate the varsity football. I'm not just saying it. Even Amanda Dlamini, she was dominating the female football at that time, and we were both from University of Johannesburg. So the reason I was telling you guys about this background story is because people always ask me like, how do you break through into becoming a professional footballer? Do you guys have trials at your club? Do you guys by any chance know an agent that can sign my cousin who happens to be the best player in the team that is currently playing for those are the kind of messages that we normally get as footballers, of which it's understandable because people want to see their family member prospering in whatever field that they like. But like, there's no formula for one to break through into PSL. The manner in which I was scouted after trying so many times to break through into PSL, it was through these varsity games. I remember in 2008 when we were playing the very same varsity games that I got scouted by UJ playing in East London. We were playing them in Durban in 2008, and we were playing the finals with the University of Venda. It just happened Manqoba came to watch those games, and I didn't even know that there was a scout. I didn't even know that there was someone watching, which is why I said to you guys, like, every time when you play, you must play as if like you're playing your last game. You must play as if like you are being scouted by someone, because that might be the door that's going to lead you to wherever that you want to go. So I got scouted by Manqoba. I remember after playing that final being called by my coach, and then there were two gentlemen there. At that time, I don't want to lie, I didn't know Manqoba who he was until he introduced himself, that like he was Manqoba Mniti, the head coach of Golden Arrows at that time. He told me that like he's very impressed with my performance, he's very impressed with the way that I play, and he would like me to come and train with them as soon as the tournament is done. So obviously, like, we exchanged numbers, and then we had to travel back with the varsity team back to Johannesburg. We went back, and then I remember it was a week before Christmas when I had to go back to Durban and train with Golden Arrows. I got to Golden Arrows to train with them just before the December break that the PSM normally have. But unfortunately, at that time when I got to Arrows, just before I could even sign, I got a sportsman hernia where I tore my abdominal muscle and I had to undergo an operation. And Manqoba asked me a simple question. He asked me like if I want to stay sign and do an operation, or do I want to go back to university and do my final year and heal while I'm still doing my final year, so that like when I come in the following year's December, that I know that like I'm done with my studies. As harsh as it might have been at that time, I just told myself like, okay, I just need to go back, man up, and then just focus on coming back after doing this operation. So I did the operation in 2009, early January, and then it took me like 8 months to heal because I didn't have a proper rehab. I didn't have a proper rehabilitation that the professional teams have. So December the following year, I went back to Golden Arrows, and when I got there, I trained with them. But Manqoba told me that like he doesn't want to sign me for Golden Arrows because there were chances of him leaving the team. That was when I told myself like, you know what, this football is frustrating. This football can make you go mad. And to be honest, I felt like as if Manqoba didn't really want to sign me maybe he has found the replacement for me whilst I was still injured. So I told myself, like, let me go back. I went back to Johannesburg, and at that time I was still also playing for Highlands Park. I played for Highlands Park whilst it was the development side of it. Not even a development side, man. The Vodacom side of it. So I played for Highlands Park. So it happened that we had a friendly with Super Sport in December when I came back from the trials with Golden Arrows. So we played with them in Pretoria, and I remember Gavin Hunt coming to me because I used to have dreads. Like, he said, like, hey, Rasta, are you a striker or are you a winger? I said, like, no, I'm a striker, but I can also play a wing. He says, like, no, you know what? I want to see you playing as a right wing. Remember, like, we're playing against this team, and I'm playing for the other team. So he called me halftime. Then I spoke to him, and then I didn't even tell our coach that, like, I was going to play as a right wing. So I just swapped with the player that I was playing with. Told him to go play up front, then I go play as a right wing. So I played. After the game, he told my coach that, like, he would like me to come and join them for preseason in January. I thought to myself, at that time I was done with my studies. I'm done with my studies. Now all of a sudden, this team calls me to come and train with them the very same way that like Golden Arrows called me to go train with them. And now, like, I had a contract with the Jane Face Hospital because I was done with my studies in 2009. So I had to either choose whether I go train with Super Sport or I fulfill the contract that I had with the Jane Face Hospital, where I was going to do my community service. January first week, I had to go to Limpopo. Super Sport was training. They were starting their training on, I think, the following week. So I just told myself that, like, I'm done with football. I'm no more going to try anymore. I'm going straight to work as a radiographer in Jane Face. So I packed my bags. January came, I went to Jane Face. I stayed there for 5 months. Yeah, 5.5 months working as a radiographer. I don't want to lie, guys. My life was taking a different direction because you know when you're stressed, you're in a foreign place, you're asking yourself, like, how did I even get here? Why did I even choose this hospital out of so many hospitals that were there that I could have chosen? And on top of that, like, there was people my age there, and we were staying at doctors' cottages, and we had a party almost every day. We had a party. Like, we didn't have to have a reason why we needed to have a party. It's just that, like, the freedom of working now for ourselves, the freedom of finally having to put food on the table ourselves without depending on anyone. So I remember in March, Coach Mangoba gave me a call. He asked me, like, hey Major, where are you? I said, like, no, I'm in Limpopo. He said, are you still playing? I said, like, no, I'm no more playing, coach. I'm now focusing full time on my career as a radiographer. He said, like, okay, I'm telling you now to start training because in June I want you to come and do preseason with me. He didn't even tell me at which team, but I thought to myself, like, this person is calling me after so many months, like 3 months. He is now calling me to come and do preseason. So is he going to do the same thing that he did last time? Is he still gonna make me train and then discard me like that? But something deep down in my heart told me that, like, oh, you know what, this person would never call you, wouldn't have called you if it wasn't that serious. So I decided to start training, and at that time I was out of shape, guys. Like, I was a bit fetish. No, I was fetish. No, let me say I was well fed. Let's put it that way. I was well fed at that time. So I started training, trying to get back into shape for a month. And then June came and I took leave and I drove down to Durban. So when I got to Durban, in fact, like, before even driving down to Durban, I discovered that, like, Mangoba just recently signed with Amazulu. So now everything made sense. Like, why did he say that, like, he wasn't gonna sign me at that time at Arrows? Why he called me 2 months before him being announced as an Amazulu coach. So I even got motivated. I said, like, nah, this is my opportunity. I trained hard, and then I went to Durban.